Hey friends, how are you all? I hope you are all keeping fine. So we have come to the end of that first lesson, and today we begin our second lesson that is very much closer to our environment. We'll be studying about land, soil, water, natural vegetation, wildlife, and so on. So all these are resources, natural resources, and we'll be studying how important they are or how useful they are, and without one how the other will suffer, and so on. So you can take your geography textbook lesson number 2, page number 9. Let us begin with a story of two people living in two areas. The first one is about a person called Mamba living in Tanzania, that is in Africa. Tanzania is an African country, and how this child Mamba is living there. What are the living situations? So Mamba gets up very early in the morning to fetch water. So this Mamba is a little girl. She will get up very early in the morning, and the first thing that she does is she will take the pot and go to the water source to carry water. That is the first requirement of the day, because if she is late then she may not get water, others will come and finish it up. So she will get up very early and go to the water source, and she has to walk a long way and returns after a few hours. So water source is not very nearby, it is very far away, and she has to walk for many hours, and she will be returning back with the water after a few hours. So imagine a small girl, she has to take up such a hardship. She has to walk miles and miles to get little water. She then helps her mother in the house and joins her brothers in taking care of their gods. So after bringing water, her work is not at over. Then she has to help her mother in cooking food, cleaning house. Then she and her brothers will go for looking after the gods. They have gods are there, animal farm is there, and she will look after the gods. And all her family owns is a piece of rocky land around a small hut. So they have a small piece of land is there where their house is situated, and that is a rocky ground. The ground is filled with rocks, so they cannot cultivate anything. The ground is very full of rocks, so the soil is not very deep, therefore they cannot cultivate anything there. And Mamba's father can barely grow some maize and beans on it after toiling hard. So her father is a very hard-working person, and so he will dig and break all these stones, all these rocks, and he will try to plant some maize or some beans and so on. Cannot grow anything else because of the rock. And this is not enough to feed their family for the whole year. So little maize and little beans they may plant, but that is not enough at all to feed their family, because father, mother, 3, 4 children, then this little food is not enough, so they will be starving. So that is the situation of this family living in Tanzania in Africa. Now let us read about another person who is living in another country. So Peter lives in the heart of the sheep rearing region in New Zealand, where his family runs a wool processing factory. So another person called Peter, he is living in New Zealand, and he also has got plenty of goats, and he is getting the wool from the sheep and with that he is running the factory. Wool is used for weaving clothes, woolen clothes, and so he has got plenty of sheep from which he will take wool, and then he has got a factory also, and he is processing that wool to weave into clothes. Then he is also living there in the sheep rearing region. So there are many people in that region rearing sheep. That means the place is good. A lot of grass may be there. So the gods can eat a lot of grass. So that's why they have chosen that region to rear the gods. Then every day when he returns from school, Peter watches his uncle taking care of their sheep. So this Peter, he is a school-going boy, and not like Mama. Mama has no time to go to school. She is working whole day from morning till evening. But Peter, he doesn't have to work. Others will do the work. So he will go to school, and when he is coming back from the school in the evening, he will see his uncle is taking care of the sheep. And their sheep yard is situated on a wide grassy plain with the hills in the far distance. So where this sheep yard is there, where the sheep is grazing, that place is a very nice place. There is also a slopy hill is there. So a lot of grass will be there for the sheep to eat. Then it is managed in a scientific way using the latest technology. So they are very well versed in this rearing of sheep, and they are using even scientific methods in order to look after the sheep yard. And Peter's family also grows vegetables through organic farming. So another thing that Peter's family is doing is they are having vegetable farm, and that also they are doing organic farming. Organic farming means they use only natural manure. They don't use fertilizers, they don't use chemicals and so on. So they use only natural manure like cow dung and biocompost and so on. That is what they are using. So they are using cultivating in a very scientific way, which is very healthy for, which is very good for our health. And so we see these two families, Mamba's family and Peter's family. What is the difference? They are first of all living in two different regions. Mamba's family is living in Africa, where the resources are very scarce, very rare and scarce, and the Peter's family is living in New Zealand, where the soil is very rich, the technology has developed, he is able to use scientific means and so on. So a lot of difference is there. So, and one thing why Mamba's father or family is not able to become rich, it is because of the soil where they are living. Suppose the man is working very hard, in spite of that, if they had some good soil, then his hard work would have got more results. So he is morning till evening going on digging and breaking the rock, and able to cultivate only little maize and beans, and that is not enough for the family also. So if he had some good soil, then the work that he does will be more fruitful, would have produced more rewards or more harvest and so on. Unfortunately, his soil is very bad. So if he has got a good land and with a good soil, and there is water, then there is natural vegetation like trees and all is growing there nearby, means the soil will be more fertile. And also the use of technology. So for people who are living in Tanzania, Peter's family, the Mamba's family, they don't have access to latest technology. They still go on digging with the hands and breaking the rock. If it were to be in some other region, they would have used the modern technology and broke all the rocks and filled with good soil, and they should have cultivated. But here, those things are not available, therefore they are still living a primitive life, a very hard life. So this is an example how people's life can be changed depending on the natural resources. Where there is a good soil, where there is water, where there is lot of natural resources are there, then that area will develop. People also will become richer and richer. But if the soil is not good, the other facilities are not there, the latest technology is not there, then they may work harder and harder, but the result will be very poor. That is what happened in the case of Mamba's father. Now let us study about these natural resources one by one. So let us first study about land. We are all aware about what is land. The place where we live, that is land. The trees, the animals, they are all on the land. So let us see how important land is for the living beings. So land is almost among the most important natural resources. We can underline. What is the most important natural resources? Land. Land is the most important natural resources. And it covers 30% of the total area of the surface. And all parts of this small percentage are not habitable. So, the land covers only 30% of the total area of the Earth's surface. So, 30% of the Earth's surface is land. Then the rest 70%, what is there? Water. So, the water is more than the land. So, it is more than double the water. So, the 30% of the land that we have, that is also not inhabitable. We already said about the case of Mamba. The land was full of rock. Then there are a lot of mountains are there, lot of deserts are there. All those places are not inhabitable. So, though we have 30% of the land of the earth is land, still a lot of this area is not good for living. For example, the deserts, and a lot of mountains are there, and a lot of areas are covered with ice. So those places are not inhabitable, very difficult to live there. And the uneven distribution of population in different parts of the world is due to varied characteristics of land and climate. So we see some places the population is very high, very thick. Some places population is very low. So what makes that difference? Why in some places the population is very high, some places the population is very low? What could be the reason? The reason is depending on the land and the climate. So people like to settle down where the land is good, so that they can do cultivation, they can make buildings and so on. So if it is on a hilltop, we don't find many people go and make house. One or two people may be making houses there on top of the hill, on top of the mountain. But if it is a plain region, we will see there are so many houses. Very close by people will be making their house. Because people like to be in the plain. It is easy to move, it is easy to get vehicle and so on. If you may go and make house on top of the mountain, it is very difficult to reach there. There is no road and so on. So, if the land is good, people make house there. And the second aspect, how people choose to live or select the place is depending on the climate. So where there is a nice climate, then people like to make house there. If the climate is too hot, like a desert, nobody likes to make house there. Or if the climate is too cold, like Everest or Himalaya mountains, or regions, it's always covered with ice and the area is too cold and people don't like to make house there. So two things that is affecting the decision of the people to choose the place of living is, one is land, another one is the climate. Then the rough topography, steep slopes of the mountains, low-lying areas susceptible to water, and desert areas and thick forest areas. They are normally sparsely populated or uninhabited. So which are the areas that people don't like to choose for living or making their house? Places like rugged topography. The topography is not level, up and down like hills. So nobody likes to make house there. Or steep of the mountains. The mountain is very high and the slope of that area. Nobody likes to make house there. Then low-lying areas susceptible to water. So some areas are very low. So even it is raining, the water will come and fill that place. So their houses, their gardens, everything will be under the water and everything will be destroyed. So people don't like to make house there where water logging is there. Then thick forested areas. So where there is forest, lot of wild animals will be there. So people don't like to make house there near to the forest because the wild animals will come and destroy their house, destroy their garden, all that. So that is very risky. So these places, some people will be daring to make house there. Though it is a difficult place, though it is a very risky place, some people we will see they go and make their house there. But normally we don't find many people going there, very few. Sparsely it will be populated. Then plains and river valleys are suitable land for agriculture. Then which are the places people like to choose? The plain areas, where all it is plain, or near the river valleys. So these places are very good. So why do people choose this place? The main purpose is to do cultivation. So most of the Indians are farmers and therefore they are looking for a fertile soil available. So in the plain area we will find a lot of fertile soil, and in the plain of the river basins, they bring a lot of good soil. Every year when there is flood, a lot of good soil is deposited on the shore, and that sand or that soil is very good for cultivation. Then, so because of these two reasons, the land is plain, the climate is good, and the soil is good for agriculture. Therefore, people choose this area for cultivation. That is why we find these places, the land is always busy or filled or overcrowded and so on. And we know 90% of the world population occupies only 30% of the land area. So we find we have 30% of the land is there. So in these 30%, 90% of the population occupies 30% of the land area. So if you divide this one into 3, so among this, if you consider this whole area of the land as 100%, then from here 30% is occupied by 90% of the people. So almost 90% of the people are living in 1/3 of the total land. So you can imagine the pressure on the land, the number of people struggling to get little land. So much of people living in. And what happened to the other? So out of this 100% of the land that is available, only 30% of the land is used by 90 people, 90% of the people. Then what happens to the other 70% of the land? So other 70% of the land is either sparsely populated or uninhabited. So see, another 70% of the land is sparsely populated. That means very thinly populated. Very few people are living in this 70% of the land. Or it is not populated at all, not inhabited at all. Maybe because of extreme climate and so on, people are not willing to live. So those are the places, the mountain tops, the slopes of the mountains, the deserts, the volcano regions. All these are very dangerous. Low-lying areas, water will come and destroy them. So because of all that, almost 70% of the land of the earth is uninhabited, and only 30% of the land is used by 90% of the people. So the rest of the 10% of the people are living in 70% of the land. I hope you understood. So we have out of the total 100% of the earth, only 30% is land, 70% is water. So if you take this as a whole, this much is the land available, and in this land we can divide them again into 30 and 70. So 30% and 70%. And this 30% is inhabited by 90% of the people. Inhabited by 90% of the people. Then the rest of the 10% of the people are occupying the 70% of the land. So that land is not very good, not very fertile. It is not at all suitable for inhabitation and so on. Yet they do not have any other place, therefore they just continue to occupy that. That's what happens to them. So today we shall wind up, and I hope you understood about the land. That is in short. We are not elaborating much. So it is in short about the land that is available on this earth and how people are making use of this land, or what are the good things that we expect from the land and so on, or which are the land that are not suitable for inhabitation. So all that we have studied. So you read your textbooks again and try to understand, and in case of any doubt, try to contact me. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day. Bye.